Tonight on Film Junkee Live, does Chris Pratt have a role in the DCU? Frank Grillo? Well, Rick Flagg Jr. is going to be avenging his son, and that's going to be interesting. Anya Taylor-Joy talks about shooting Furiosa, and really doesn't sound like it was a fun time at all. Box office, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. How well did it do? And I watched so many ape movies over the weekend. It was glorious. 10 years since the first image of Batfleck. Let's reflect on that just a little bit. All that and so much more tonight on Film Junkee Live. Seriously, 10 years? 10 years! What is going on right now? It's just crazy how that's the case, and here we are when it comes to the superhero genre, where it's just kind of like, what are we doing here, folks?
Lights out! Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Let's do it, folks. What is happening, everybody? It's Monday, end of Monday, so don't worry. The Monday woes. I mean, I'm telling you, man, today I was not feeling Monday for sure. So I feel you guys if anybody was like going like, God damn Monday. Yeah, Monday was like, ugh, when it came today. But hey, welcome to Film Junkee Live, everybody. Make sure you, of course, subscribe to the channel, hit that like, thumbs up. Do all of that. We got some stuff to talk about, and hopefully you guys had a good weekend, had a good Mother's Day weekend. Did you talk to your mom? Did you take her to dinner? Did you do something? Hopefully you did. Hopefully you did. Good day yesterday for me, for sure, and hopefully you guys had a good one as well. How we doing out there, folks? All right, let's get to talking, and we're going to be talking some DCU news, of course. And then we're going to be talking about Furiosa. That's coming up, which a lot of people are... Actually, you know what's funny is, like, as I was preparing for the show, all of a sudden I'm seeing all the internet reactions come about. Like, I guess the internet reaction embargo lifted tonight. So now all of a sudden it's just like a slew of, like, people on the internet that are like, hey, this movie is fantastic because did we not think that George Miller was going to give us another fucking crazy action masterpiece? And then, of course, we'll talk about the box office, Planet of the Apes. Man, I've just been so deep in Planet of the Apes right now. That sounded funny, I know. But anyways, and then, of course, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Batfleck. We're going to talk about Batfleck. So, all right, how we doing out there, folks? We got Mr. Nobody. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. Yes, I definitely did. Are you going to switch live streams to pre-recorded episodes? Okay. So I did put out a poll. Is that going to end right there? Yes. Okay, so that works. And I meant to talk about this more on Wednesday's show last week, but I did not. I completely forgot because that's just what happens. But I did put a poll out to be like, hey, do you guys still want me to do Film Junkee Lives? And I was just specifically talking about Film Junkee Live. Do you want me to do this, or do you want me to take the show where it's not Film Junkee Live, but it's a more, hey, I could record it and have a more polished, more condensed show, as opposed to just, let's do it live kind of thing. And so I put a poll out there because, just sometimes you just start thinking about that kind of stuff. You start thinking like, all right, maybe I could make this show better because, I see other shows out there that are like, that are pre-recorded, and they basically, there's more production value that goes into them, and everything's a little bit more snappier, and you can add a little bit more to it. When it comes to live, it's just me doing it. Like, it would be cool eventually if it got to a point where like, hey, I can have like a producer behind the scenes that is like helping me with, things when it comes to, hey, here's this, here's that. So I put on YouTube and Twitter, I put a poll out there that I put my poll out there basically saying like, should I do that? But when it came to the polls, it was basically like, it was like a 60-40 kind of, no, keep doing Film Junkee Live. So, you guys were basically more saying like, hey, do Film Junkie Live. You like the live streams a little bit more. And I get that. There's, I mean, ever since like I started doing the Film Junkie Lives, I was always like, yeah, there's something raw about it. It's a raw kind of thing. It's like, you know, as much as I try to do as much production as I can for Film Junkie Live, it's like, you know, sometimes there's mess ups sometimes, but there's a lot of interaction that happens. So I was just kind of just, you know, I was just questioning that if people wanted that. And, you know, apparently, you know, when it came to the polls, like you preferred me doing it live. We're going to do it live, Bill O'Reilly said once. So, you know, as of right now, we're going to still do it live. We're still going to do it live. But, you know, it was just something that I was just kind of questioning, like maybe, you know, if we were going to change it up a little bit. I don't know. It was just something that I was, when I was just kind of going through and thinking about changing things for the channel. I don't know. You know, you do this when if you're a YouTube creator, you kind of start thinking about changing things up, you know. So you want to gauge the audience. So that's why I put the poll out there just to see if people wanted that. And even though it was like a 60-40 thing, or maybe it was more like a 65-35, or even I think on YouTube it was more of a 70-30 thing. I think it was just kind of like one of those things where it's like, okay, I just want to, you know, you want to ask the audience every now and again to see what people want, So what's going on, Mr. Fear Jason? Good to see ya. We got Phil right there. Happy Batfleck anniversary. Hell yeah. We got Mama Film Junkie right here. Thanks again for yesterday. Had a great time. Yes. Yeah, we took Mama Film Junkie out for a freaking awesome dinner. Awesome dinner. Tomahawk steak, a bunch of food. I don't know. I ate a bunch of food yesterday, and we had fun yesterday, and so it was great. And happy Mother's Day again to Mama Film Junkie. She's you know, she's the greatest mom ever, and you know, and I posted that picture. I'll actually show it when I go through the tweets and stuff like that, because she posted a picture too, which is like one of those. And I think we're actually gonna go see a movie this week. I think she wants to see If. We're gonna go see If. And I always like it when Mama Film Junkie joins me in a movie watch. So, love you, Mom. We got Jason McKenzie right here. Good to see you. Hey, folks. Yeah, doing well. We got Mr. Droga right there. You found a possum in your room this morning? How the hell? Wow. Okay, when something like that happens, you got to like do like a vlog or something, man. That is pretty crazy. You found a possum in your room? Did it hiss at you? Because I know possums hiss. Last time I saw a possum, so I'm on the second story of my apartment complex. So on my balcony, I remember one time it was after a vodka stream. And sometimes, you know, I just like, I want to go out there and just kind of like, especially it was during summertime, I believe. This is the last time I saw a possum. Freaky as all hell. I go out on the balcony and I just kind of like, you know, and I still had a little bit more, you know, I poured a little bit more because I'm just like, all right, I'm not like, I'm going to drink a little bit more. So I'm just sitting on the chair out there and I'm just like sipping and I'm just like, you know, enjoying the summer night. And I see, because, you know, my apartment complex has, you know, cats. There's a lot of like cats that roam around my apartment complex. Just, you know, stray cats around here. I mean, if Selena Kyle was around here, they'd be all in her apartment. But, and then I look over and I see like on the sidewalk and I see what I think is a cat, but I'm like, wow, that's not a cat. And I'm like going, oh my God, I think that's a possum. And it's almost like the possum knew what I was thinking, because it was walking and it turned and I could see the schnoz and the teeth, and it was almost like, yeah, this ain't a cat. And I was like, oh shit, that's a possum walking right there. Whoa. Yeah. It was freaky. It was almost like, this ain't a cat, motherfucker. Yeah, it was weird. It was totally weird. But that was like, I think that was like last year. I think that was last summer that I saw that. That was the last time I saw a possum. Like, whoa, that was pretty crazy. What's going on, Zach P? Good to see you. We got RJ right here. Always great to see you, buddy. Thank you for joining the Patreon stream. Same with you, Axel. Jacob, I told bro to fight his demons, and he swung on his mom. What? What are you talking about? What are we talking about here? JD McRae. Congrats on your Giants winning a series against the. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I had to Ohio Dave, who's been on the Vodka stream. He's a Reds fan, and he actually came into the chat earlier this year. Said he was, that the Reds were going to defeat the Giants, and they didn't. It was a great series. It was a good series. The Giants won 2-1, and Sunday it was a crazy game, absolutely crazy game. But the Giants are now playing the Dodgers tonight, which is going to start in about a half an hour. I'm not confident, and yeah, we'll see what happens. The Giants are suffering a lot of injuries right now too, which is not that great. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's what I was seeing a lot right there. We love the fact that you see. Yeah, no, I think that's what people were like. But like I said, I just wanted to know. I was like, I was just trying to gauge the audience. It was just having one of those, let me see what people are saying, when it comes to that. Personally love the lives, but if you want to do video, I mean, I do both because I always clip out topics from the lives. I mean, that's one of the things when you subscribe to my channel, you're going to get a full-on live stream, a live show. You're gonna get 2 Film Junkee lives. You're going to get the Vodka stream. You're gonna get DC Fanimated, and then every now and again you're gonna get another live stream where I invite, of course, Patreon people and members, which we did last weekend. And everything's always a lot of fun. And then of course I clip things out. I do shorts, and then I clip them out for shorter videos. But I just wanted to see, like, when it came to Film Junkee Live, did people want more of a production value? Because, I could easily just record something and then, make it where it looks a little shinier. And I was thinking, like, maybe I should go that route. But I didn't want to do that without getting your guys' opinion. And you guys supply. And so we're still going to do Film Junkee Live. I just wanted to know, I just wanted to put it out there just to see. Because I do enjoy doing this. But I just was wondering if maybe I should do it the other way. But no, we're going to keep on doing Film Junkee Live now that I've, seen the responses and everything. So, all right, who else we got here? We got, I'm probably going to say your name wrong again. I know. And thank you for joining Taladia. I mean, I want to say Taladia, and it's like Talidia. I'm always so bad when it comes to pronouncing things, but thank you for joining the Patreon as well. So that's good. All right, who else we got? Let's see. I did take several shits on the. Oh my god, jeez. Are you talking about the? Yeah, wow. Sounds like something here, man. When it came to that. See, we got Eric right here, hard boiled. My mom's very big on the whole Jeep rubber ducky thing, so I got her a 30-pack of little duckies. There you go, that's nice. Do it live, Russ says. Do it live. And we got Stephanie T right here. Also great to see you, as always. So, all right. Well, thank you guys, of course, for showing up tonight. And, speaking of Eric M. Blake, he is, of course, the executive producer of Film Junkee Live tonight and will be for the rest of the week until Friday. And thank you, Eric, of course, for helping support the channel. Like I said, if you guys want to be a part of this and if you want to really support the channel and be an executive producer of Film Junkee Live, of DC Fanimated, of the Vodka stream, subscribe to the Patreon. The Patreon is there. Trying to build up like crazy. I post all the videos right there because you just never know. You just never know. After what happened with YouTube and they just dive bombed the channel for 5 days, you just never know. So I was like, that was one of the things too. Like when you think about things, you go, all right, I'm gonna really focus on the Patreon. So, trying to post as much exclusive content over there like I do. Like I've been doing the Patreon exclusive pod where I just really I get a little bit more candid with my little pods that I do. I do them on Thursdays now. So I post them on Thursday or Friday morning where I just record just a random pod right there for people. And then of course, when it comes to the clips, I try to post as early as possible. Sometimes, it's not as early. Sometimes I just still post on YouTube, but depending on when I'm motivated enough. Sometimes you don't get motivated enough when you're like, okay, I got to clip this out. And then I'm like, all right, but I need to get it out on YouTube. I'm going to put it over. I don't know. It's all a big thing. But you don't get any ads, at least when it comes to Patreon. It's all straight up right there. So, yeah, check it out, guys. Check it out if you want to join that. And, I also have merch, too. That was one of the things that I was like, oh, yeah, I should really start pushing the merch a little bit more. I do have shirts that are provided because I had some people last week. I was wearing my Batman shirt that had the different, that I have Batman spelled out with like the different fonts. And some people were like, where'd you get that shirt? And I'm like, I made it. It's in my merch closet, my Film Junkie closet. So was posting that too. So yeah, if you guys want to check that out, I'll probably add a little bit more into the closet. I do have like ideas for shirt ideas when it comes to things. So check it out. Check it out, guys. Check it out. Anyways, all right. I'm rambling. Let's get to these tweets right here and see what was happening in the freaking Twitter world over the weekend. Not pretty slow news day, I'm not going to lie. Pretty slow news day. Not too much was happening, but yeah, we'll go through and see what happened since the last time we got together talking about things in the movie world. But yeah, it's been kind of slow, a little slow lately, but some cool things, of course, are put out there. Let's see, I'm just trying to find the spot. Ooh, okay, so yeah, we got some things. So interesting things to talk about. Oh, man. I always like scrolling back because I'm like scrolling like to where I left off. And, of course, there's like so many things. Okay. So we got that. Okay, I think we're good when it comes to all this. Where are we going to? Let's see. Okay, I think we'll start off right here. Because, obviously, Fantastic Four apparently is going to be starting to shoot at the end of July. And they're adding to the cast, and they did get a good get. And that get? Who is that get? John Malkovich. We already kind of talked about it on the Vox stream, but yes, John Malkovich is part of the Fantastic Four. But nobody knows who he is playing. I am going to put my money on that he's just voicing Herbie, the robot, right? Because we saw Herbie in the image that they posted when it came to Fantastic Four. So I'm just kind of going like, I would not be surprised if he's just coming in, recording some voice over things and yeah, why not? Why not? John Malkovich has a distinct voice. He has a distinct voice, so why not just have him voice Herbie? It's probably going to be the case. Who knows? We'll see what happens. And then, of course, we actually talked about it, too, on the Vox stream. When it came to Caped Crusader, the animated series that's going to be coming out from Bruce Timm and all them, and J.J. Abrams, and even Matt Reeves is involved with it. We talked about that. We didn't talk about that on the Vox stream. We did, but we talked about it more on the Patreon members stream and kind of went over that kind of stuff. And then, of course, when it comes to Fantastic Four, everybody, I mean, you always love it when you hear about a cast in one of these movies that everybody just goes, yep, you guys have done it right. And that, of course, is Ralph Ineson being cast as Galactus right here. So, I mean, he's been in numerous movies. If you know the voice, you hear the voice. I could hear his voice in my head right now. I mean, he's got one of those voices, so I think we all just kind of went, yep, that's perfect right there. If you're going to cast somebody like Galactus in your movie, you have to have somebody with a very strong voice. And Ralph definitely has a strong voice, if you've seen anything he's been in. So very good casting right there when it comes to Galactus. What else we got here? All right, let's just keep scrolling. Okay, and then there was this whole thing right here. Because Warner Brothers, I mean, Warner Brothers, is Warner Brothers ever going to learn when it comes to the internet and when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to anything? Because, I mean, it sucks, especially if your YouTube channel is heavily on reacting to trailers, you always kind of worry about, because obviously you want to monetize it, you want to make some money off it, you want to put the effort in, and you want to get some, you want to get a payment when it comes to this. And it seems like when it comes to Disney and Marvel Studios, anytime when it comes to a trailer reaction to one of their movies, they aren't going to touch it because they know that that's just free promotion. That is free. And they're people are putting it out there, especially if it's positive. Warner Brothers still does not quite have that yet. So Warner Brothers announced that they are going to be moving forward with a prequel to Lord of the Rings that's going to be the Hunt for Gollum type of story. But there was already a fan film out there that came out in 2009. 2009, it's been out there. It's got I think it had over 13 million views. And at one point, Warner Brothers issued a copyright strike to the fan film Hunt for Gollum less than a day after announcing their own film with the same title. 13 million views. And it was taken down. What the fuck? It was like, really, Warner Brothers, you're going to do that? But they did correct it. It took probably about an hour or so before they corrected it. And they said, hey, we made a mistake. Now, I know, of course, a lot of people are like, sure, you guys made a mistake. But at the same time, suffering from, getting my channel pulled after a mistake, I almost do think it's a YouTube mistake more than a Warner Brothers mistake. Because it seems like YouTube is utilizing some automation, probably some artificial intelligence kind of stuff. And they're just searching for certain keywords, certain things. And the fact of the matter is this fan film titled The Hunt for Gollum. And after it being announced, it was probably already submitted when it came to certain things, got submitted to YouTube, and YouTube's automated system probably dive-bombed that too. So I actually would not put Warner Brothers at fault with this one. I would put more YouTube, just because of what I've been through when it comes to YouTube. Just saying. But that's just me. But it was kind of like an interesting thing. It was kind of an interesting thing when that happened. And I was like, really, Warner Brothers, you're going to do that? But it's all restored and everything's good to go. Everything's good to go. So you guys remember when I was on Wednesday's show last week when I was talking about the Superman suit reveal memes, and I used some art that somebody created for me that put me in the Superman costume sitting in the chair? Well, somebody added to that. No, Joe. No, don't do that. Stop sniffing me, Joe. Oh God. Oh, my God, Joe Biden. What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, that's hilarious right there. That is absolutely hilarious. You got to love that. Yeah, because, Joe Biden, he's, sometimes when you watch some things where, he has, I don't know, he's creepy. He's creepy. I don't care what anybody says, whatever side of the aisle you're on, you can't ignore some of the creepy stuff that you've seen when it comes to him. I mean, let's face it, some of these politicians, these people in power, they got some creepy stuff in there. And Joe, he's losing his mind. So sometimes I don't think he knows that he shouldn't be, doing stuff like that, like sniffing or, it's just like, whoa. But I thought that was hilarious because, there's many images and video where he's done the sniffing thing. It's like, whoa. Venom: The Last Dance. Okay, so naturally, because I hate it, guys. I hate it, but you knew that was going to be the case. But being the third Venom movie, what were they going to actually do to the title of Venom? Well, they're going to turn the E into a 3, because why not? Because that, for some reason, is the thing that studios want to do when it comes to titling these movies. It's like, hey, anytime there's a third movie, and there's an E in the movie, we got to make it a 3 because that's so fucking cool. No, it's not. Stop it. But that's what they're doing, of course, with Venom 3, stunt team. We got the little logo right here. I mean, okay, it's not that bad, but whatever. I'm just kind of going like, good Lord. But I do like the hat. The hat looks pretty cool. And we got some slashes into it, like green nail marks right there. And a lot of people are kind of going like, what is that indicating? Well, it's obviously the villain. There is a symbiote, I think, called the Lasher. Like I've said, I'm not really too versed when it comes to the Rogues Gallery or the different symbiotes when it comes to Venom. So I remember seeing people talking about it, and I kind of looked in. I'm like, okay, so yeah, there is a symbiote like called the Lasher who does have like these, these talons, these like kind of claws. So I'm guessing that that's going to be the villain when it comes to Venom: The Last Dance. And yeah, so there you go. That's what that logo looks like right there. Not too shabby. I'm not gonna lie, it's not bad. I could forgive the backwards 3. I can do that. What else we got right here? So Jay Oliva and Zack Snyder's Twilight of the Gods featured at an event last night. This was 3 days ago, so they've been talking about it, pushing that. So that's been a thing as well. So that's pretty cool. Of course, we've already talked about how the new Planet of the Apes, they want to do 9 movies, or 8 more movies, we should say. Let's see. Rest in peace, Sam Rubin. He passed away over the weekend, which was, sad to hear that. Passed way too early. 64 years old. We got Chris Hemsworth. So obviously we got Furiosa that obviously they're going to be doing a lot of press junkets, a lot of promotion when it comes to the movie. So Chris Hemsworth, and you always got to love, Brandon Davis, because he always asks certain questions. Obviously when you work for comicbook.com and being like a crazy comic book nerd, you're going to talk to these actors and ask like some of these questions about, certain things. And he asked a question about Thor showing up in Deadpool 3 kind of thing, where you have some of the footage, and this is what Chris Hemsworth had to say when it came to the response to all that.
Real quick, because I was at CinemaCon and I saw your Thor from old footage in Deadpool and Wolverine footage.
Yeah,
and
really?
I was curious if you knew that was happening, what you think of that kind of stuff when they connected.
I didn't even, am I in there?
They got Dark World footage on the screen. They switched Loki with Deadpool, which is
cool.
clever mix-ups. What are those moments for you when you kind of see that they're using stuff like that?
It's really cool. You kind of like, you don't forget, be like, oh, cool, I'm part of the team. They're talking about me, when I'm not in it. But that whole world is really cool to be a part of, and anytime each other, I think it's what makes it all look really cool, is the interconnected nature of it.
Oh, yeah.
So loud. So yeah, he did not know that he was actually going to be part of that Deadpool and Wolverine footage. And it's like, obviously, your image is kind of owned by the studio, so naturally it's like, hey, if we want to use you in something else, we're going to use you in something else. But at the same time, it's like, well, that's what you sign up for. You're going to be putting, and when you have something like Deadpool that's going to be doing like the multiverse and kind of parodying the whole multiverse, yeah, you're going to be included in all of that. And let's face it, Thor kind of turned into a parody of himself that we all kind of talked about. Even Chris Hemsworth knows that is the case. That is the case. Rebel Moon. And again, guys, what I keep on saying, for the people who don't like Rebel Moon, you didn't like the PG-13 cuts. Cool. Okay? But let's see what happens when it comes to these R-rated cuts, these director's cuts. And then, of course, I always get a lot of pushback when I talk about Rebel Moon, especially when it's like on Twitter and everything, where people go like, yes, they should have released the director's cuts first. And yes, okay, I understand the gripe, but I also understand what they were trying to do and what they were trying to achieve. But there's actually been many times I'm like, okay, yeah, they could have, but those movies aren't completed yet. They're not completed. So we have to wait for them, because obviously it's going to be a longer process for the director's cuts of Rebel Moon. And apparently, according to Mara Kent, that's a wrap for most of the VFX crew on Rebel Moon Part 1. So maybe not completely there, but she did post this image of the VFX crew and saying basically, hey, it's a wrap right there. So we got Zach right there, and I love that we see DJ. That's right. You know who DJ is. He's the one that did that mic drop at Full Circle last year when it came to Jeff Johns and talking about Jeff Johns. And yes, that's right. DJ, who did VFX work on Man of Steel, on BVS, on Zack Snyder's Justice League. He is there helping with that. And I love the fact that he's holding onto a dog, and so is Zach. Zach's right there too. So yes, VFX work has wrapped when it comes to Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 1, Chalice of Blood. That's what it's called, right? Yeah, so let's look forward to that. Look forward to that. All right, what else we got here? Let's see. We got the Northern Lights stuff that happened over the weekend, you know. That was pretty cool. Seeing images of all that. Oh, speaking of George Miller, this put a little tingle in a lot of people's jingles, especially mine. But can you imagine a George Miller Thor? George Miller directing Thor. Wouldn't that be insane? It won't happen, but can you imagine? Can you imagine? I mean, I want Robert Eggers to direct a Thor movie, but that won't happen either. But man, either Robert Eggers at one point, because you saw, the Northman and just the way that was. I mean, can you imagine applying that to a Thor movie? But then you have George Miller right here. I would work with Chris on anything. I would. He's a wonderful actor, of course. He's got a full range of all the skills, and basically said that he would be down to direct Thor 5. Now, George, we want you to keep with the Mad Max stuff. We still got Mad Max Wasteland coming out, hopefully coming out. He's got a script. He's got stuff when it comes to Mad Max. That is his baby. We don't need George Miller to show up in the Marvel machine, but hey, it's a kind of like an idea that it's just like, oh, can you imagine George Miller taking the Thor franchise into a different level? Because, that last guy kind of turned it into a joke. And even Chris Hemsworth's like, yeah, I'm a parody of myself. How about that? So George Miller could actually turn the Thor ship around if he wanted to. And then, yes, guys, I did a rewatch of... I watched Rise, I watched Dawn, I watched War, and I watched the original Planet of the Apes movie. Fell asleep during the original Planet of the Apes movie. After the Patreon stream, I put on the Charlton Heston original Planet of the Apes movie. And, I hadn't seen it since probably, since I was a young lad. And it was just kind of funny just watching that. For the time, I get it. It's like 68? It worked. It definitely worked. But sadly, I was like, after, drinking some wine on the stream, and, I just kind of and being the fact that I just fall asleep during movies when it's late, I fell asleep during it. And I woke up because I had it on Hulu. I played it on Hulu, and I woke up to Quarantine of the Planet of the Apes. I forgot how many Apes movies there was, back in the day. There's Escape from the Planet of the Apes. There's Return to the Planet of the Apes. There's all the different versions. And I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I think it was Quarantine of the Planet of the Apes, or maybe it was Escape. I don't know. But I did watch, of course, Rise, which is a good starting off point. And I love the fact that people are posting on Twitter basically saying that James Franco's character in Rise of the Planet of the Apes is essentially the Oppenheimer of the Planet of the Apes world, because he was trying to cure Alzheimer's, and he started this crazy apocalypse. When you watch that, it's just it's kind of crazy. It's he was just wanting to, his dad, played by John Lithgow, he just wanted to cure him of his disease, and he ended up starting the apocalypse. And, obviously, there's just such good movies, though. With the whole Caesar story and everything, it's just so fucking good. Just so good. But anyways, I had quite an ape type of weekend right here. And then, of course, Roger Corman passed away this week, over the weekend, too. And, he was always one of those. Roger Corman had, he had his fingerprints in a lot of things when it came to moving film forward. I remember watching, there was something on Showtime that was kind of a horror type of anthology series. And it was Roger Corman Presents. And it was pretty great. So, a lot of people came out and just tweeted out, Guillermo, and we have Robert Rodriguez. A lot of people just tweeting out some things when it comes to that. When it comes to him passing away, so may he rest in peace as well. We got Spider Monkey right here that posted this image, his art right here of the new Superman costume, which looks pretty good. Standing right there. We got the lines in the suit, which I know some people didn't like, but we got the logo. I thought this was, not too shabby. Not too shabby art right there. And I don't know why I like this guy. But somebody did a Photoshop on Daredevil and kind of just turned his suit into a different kind of Battinson suit and put the white eyes and everything. I don't know why I just saw this and a lot of people were passing this around and I went, that looks kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, people were doing Photoshop on Daredevil when it came to, I think it was when he showed up on She-Hulk, and I was like, I don't know why I don't know. It just looked kind of cool to me. I was like, okay, I dig that. Totally dig that. And then look at that. Of course, there's me and Mama Film Junkie. This is when we saw Ghostbusters. Took that picture, and then she posted this right here. What? Look at that. Oh, isn't that adorable? Look at that. There's me and Mama Film Junkie right there. And our ugly brown couch that we had. Oh, man, I remember that couch. Such an ugly couch. But hey, precious. Absolutely precious. So, yeah, there you go. There's me as, I don't know how old I was. Probably like 3, 4. I don't know how old I was. I was probably like 3 or 4, 2, maybe. I don't know. She's still in the chat. She'll know. But, yeah. Adorable. Absolutely adorable, right? Let's see. What else we have here? Okay, so... So we got John Watts right here talking about giving advice to the next person that's going to be tackling Spider-Man. And one of the things that he wanted to say, and a lot of people were kind of like, John Watts, okay. When it comes to Spider-Man and the web-slinging action when it comes to Spider-Man, John Watts gives an advice to whoever is directing Spider-Man 4. It doesn't look good when someone is just swinging on a rope. You think you're going to go in there, you're like, we're going to do this all practical. It's boring. It looks dumb. So talking about the web-slinging action. Yet, Mark Webb did do that very thing. Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, he actually did practical web-slinging. Now, it's not crazy extreme, but Mark Webb said, hey, hold my fucking beer. I'm going to try to do some web-slinging action practical. And he did. John Watts. I'm not saying that all the web-slinging was bad that he did. Now, John Watts did a good job for what he was working with the Marvel Studios machine, but... sit there and be like, you can't do it practically. Well, yeah, I think you can a little bit. But at the same time, even when it came to the web slinging, I would say like some of the best web slinging was from Mark Webb. Okay? I know a lot of people, there's like kind of a dispute when it comes to the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, but that Electro sequence at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2 was freaking awesome. The opening of Amazing Spider-Man 2, there was a lot of great web-slinging action that happened with Mark Webb's Spider-Man. And it just seems like a lot of people just love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man more than the others. I do. He's my favorite. But it's like, but yet the best movie is still like Tobey Maguire, and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. I don't know. It's always interesting, but it was funny seeing people's reactions to that. So, and then what is happening? Okay, I don't even know what's going on when it comes to the series and who the fuck even asked for this series. But that whole Agatha series, apparently there's yet another title. I don't know if they're just trolling. Is Marvel Studios trolling when it comes to this series? But Agatha has had like numerous different titles, and apparently they posted another title for Agatha today and then removed it. And here was the title right here. Agatha, the Lying Witch with Great Wardrobe. Huh? So this was posted today, and then they removed it. Marvel removed it. This is like the 5th or 6th title for the show that really nobody asked for. I don't know. But maybe this is just part of the gimmick. They're just like, we're going to switch it up every now and again. I don't know. It's very weird. Very strange. But whatever. Bob Iger. Remember, they're cutting back. They're cutting back when it comes to their stuff. So this right here has now gotten my attention because at first I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to. Do I care about a Barbarella? Do I care about a Barbarella remake? Because I don't even remember really the first one. I get the appeal of Barbarella. Sure, I get the appeal. And then, of course, it was like, okay, we have Sydney Sweeney. She's going to play Barbarella. They're going to do a remake, and we're going to see what happens. I'm like, all right, well, you're getting somebody who, of course, pretty stacked. But now you have my attention because possibly Edgar Wright is going to be directing the Barbarella remake. Okay. Quit staring at that image. I know. They Film Updates was like, we're going to use that image of Sydney Sweeney. Now you have my attention when it comes to this. I'm like, all right, Barbarella. I'm like, all right, man, I probably would have checked it out anyways. But now that you're talking about Edgar Wright directing, I mean, he's one of my, all-time favorite directors. So if he's in talks and if he ends up doing it, all right, I'm definitely going to go see that now. Just kind of wondering exactly what it's going to be like because, I mean, I'll have to watch the original again. I haven't seen that again since forever. But, you've seen the images, you see how it is, and you see what the character is all about, and you're kind of going like, all right, is it going to work modern day? Guess we'll see. But Edgar Wright, if anybody could do it, Edgar Wright could do it. Jose, boobies! And speaking of that, guys, speaking of Sydney Sweeney, I know you guys are very much looking forward to it. And if you didn't catch Madam Web in the movie theater, it's going to be on Netflix tomorrow. So keep on watching it. Keep on watching it. And then I don't know if anybody's disappointed in this, but, maybe at one point I would have been disappointed, but I'm not disappointed now. The MTV Movie and TV Awards has been canceled in 2024. Will likely return in 2025. Does it really need a return? I don't think it does. In the 90s, when the MTV Movie Awards first came about, they were awesome. It was an awesome alternative to all the crazy awards that were all these prestigious awards because they were like, you know what, we're going to do something different. We're going to have some fun with all this kind of stuff. In the 90s and into the 2000s, the MTV Movie Awards were awesome. They had great hosts. They had great sketches. One of the funniest sketches was when Ben Stiller hosted, and it was for Mission Impossible 2, and Ben Stiller played Tom Cruise's stuntman, who was also named Tom Cruise, who he really didn't need. Great sketch. Me and one of my good friends, we would laugh our asses off at that sketch. Great sketch. A lot of great sketches that happen, and a lot of great moments that happen in previous movie awards. And I remember even there was a really good sketch too when it came to Jimmy Fallon. I think he was hosting it after The Matrix came out, and they did this Sex and the City Matrix kind of thing, and it was really funny, but then it just kind of fell off. And I don't even remember the last time I watched the MTV Movie Awards. It used to be a thing. Now nobody really cares. So it was canceled. So if anybody was looking forward to it, sorry, not going to see it this year. But yeah, it fell off. It fell off big time. How he's feeling? Yeah, big W when it comes to Edgar Wright. Yeah. Apparently, Agatha is for the gays, or so they claim. What? All right. Sydney Sweeney is boring. I still don't understand the full appeal. I still don't understand the full appeal of Sydney Sweeney. Yeah, I get it. She's, beautiful. She's curvy and everything like that. But I'm just kind of I don't know. I'm not one of those. And I'm like, oh my God, Sydney Sweeney. I still haven't seen that movie she was in earlier this year, the romantic comedy, Anyone But You, I guess, with Glenn Powell. I'm not rushing to see that. I'm a film junkie. We had a conversation about it. She said she tried to put it on and she said it was awful. So I was like, yeah, it seemed like it was going to be awful. I'm not saying she can't act. Music Man. But I think the more appeal, of course, especially when it comes to the male demographic, is the exterior. And even I'm kind of like, all right, cool, fine, sure. It's like, what? It's just we just thinking about boobies here, guys? Come on. Come on. I don't know. Watch Euphoria. Yes, I know. Everybody says watch Euphoria. Even though I find it weird that I'm watching a movie that's about high school, not movie, but a show about high school students, and they're doing they're having sex, they're doing drugs, they're having mental issues. I'm like, do I really want to watch like this story that's supposed to be about underage characters, even though the actors are not underage themselves? But they're partaking in a bunch of this kind of stuff. I'm like, maybe one of these days. I don't know. One of these days I might. I don't know. She's good at crying. Yeah. I don't know. Like when it comes to beautiful actresses, I'm like, yeah, I'm not saying she's no slut, but I don't see it fully. I don't know. I just don't see it fully because obviously that's one of the main things. Is like, she's so beautiful. I'm like, yeah, she's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But I don't know. I haven't gotten on that train of, oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm not totally seeing the appeal right now. So anyways, that's just me, guys. That's just me. All right, let's start talking about some of this stuff right now. Let's see. Hold on. Let me pull up some things. We'll go some DCU updates right here. Seeing people post things. Let me just make sure we got everything. I think we're pretty good. All right. Jesus Christ. Okay, so DC updates. I mean, it's been interesting, and there's something I do want to talk about. Maybe I'll talk about it on Wednesday more. More so, I just want to just talk about like the things that have been happening recently when it comes to all this. First off, I mean, obviously, there's been a set visit when it comes to people showing up to the Superman set. Of course, we have Jim Lee crouched down next to, of course, James Gunn right here, and of course, numerous other people that have visited the set. Scott Snyder was also there too. You could see him right there, standing behind James Gunn. So we have some people that are visiting the set, checking out things, and it's always good to see the comic book community actually like going, all right, we got to make this thing, we got to make this thing a hit. We got to make this thing a hit. Metropolis is in terrific hands. Great hanging out with all these people. So incredible people, he said. That's what Scott Snyder said. So I know some of you that, hate James Gunn. Hey, Scott Snyder is all about James Gunn. Just saying. And, of course, we got Jim Lee right there as well. And then naturally, okay, so one of the things that we talked about on the Vox stream, because it did come out on Friday, and Peacemaker Season 2. You guys have known that, you've heard me talk about, I don't think there needs to be a Peacemaker Season 2. I was like, focus on all the other stuff. Why do we need a Peacemaker Season 2? Unless, since obviously we got Creature Commandos coming out, which a new logo did come out today that was displayed. I forgot exactly which convention that it was actually displayed at, but Creature Commandos is going to be coming out, and of course we're going to have Rick Flagg Sr. So a lot of people are going like, well, maybe Rick Flagg Sr. being Frank Grillo, is he going to show up, and maybe he'll show up in Peacemaker Season 2 because, well, what happened in the Suicide Squad is, of course, obviously, spoiler alert, Rick Flagg Jr. got offed by Peacemaker. So naturally we have this confirmed right here. James Gunn saying, pleased to announce the great Frank Grillo will be reprising his role of Rick Flagg Sr., the role he'll first play in the animated form in Creature Commandos throughout Season 2 of Peacemaker. Christopher Smith and Rick Sr. have a little unfinished business to take care of. All right, so now I'm like, all right, I want that story. I like a revenge story like that. Sure. And of course, naturally, people are just going to be like, yeah, but I thought it was going to be a reboot of everything. And I'm like, yeah, I totally understand what you're talking about when it comes to them rebooting a lot of things. And of course, like what happened at the end of Season 1 when it came to the whole Justice League thing, which I thought was dumb. I was like, you didn't need any of that. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I don't really care. I just want to see the story of Rick Flagg Sr. taking on Peacemaker. I'm all for that. Now you got my attention when it comes to Peacemaker Season 2. At least for me. That you have my attention. You have my attention when it comes to that. That's what I need. I was like, all right, what is Peacemaker Season 2 going to be? If it's this, totally. And I like Frank Grillo. I like Frank Grillo, so I was like all about that. So we'll see what happens with that. And naturally, I mean, we had Mr. Davi right here who made a comic book cover, which looks pretty cool. I love it when he makes these vintage comic book covers right here. This is Davi Alves art right here, as you could see on the side right there. And yeah, so he put Rick Flagg Sr. right there and rematch motherfucker and fuck it's Peacemaker. Some people were also kind of going like, well, what about the age difference when it comes to Joel Kinnaman and Frank Grillo? And one of the things that I mentioned was like, well, I mean, look at Frank Grillo. I mean, the dude's 58 years old. He's in better shape than most people. The dude's fucking ripped. The dude takes care of himself. So obviously they're going to add, the gray on the sides. He's going to have a beard that's going to have gray in him. So it's going to age him up a little bit. But for the most part, Frank Grillo is just built like a fucking superhero. And, I mean, so it's whatever. He's going to be 60 years old, Rick Flagg Sr. And so I think he's going to be able to, it's going to be interesting to see how they take on Peacemaker, because especially since Peacemaker, if you watch season 1, I mean, he has regret when it comes to him killing Rick Flagg Jr. Peacemaker, what a joke. Am I right? He's a joke. All right, what else we have here when it comes to DCU news? All right, well, we got this right here. We got Mark Strong. Mark Strong, which at one point I thought, okay, can we have him as Lex Luthor? He was my pick for Lex Luthor back before Jesse Eisenberg got cast as Lex Luthor in BVS. I was like, Mark Strong, that is my top choice for Lex Luthor. I was like, have him as Lex Luthor. Of course, he ended up being, Dr. Savanya when it came to Shazam, and, he did a great job. Mark Strong, he's just one of those guys. I mean, obviously, he's been in a lot of Guy Ritchie movies. He was in the Kingsman movies. Just all kind of great stuff. But, Mark Strong confirmed, of course, to be now part of Matt Reeves' Batman universe in The Penguin. So we got Giacomo Farshi. I'm probably saying that name wrong. But a stunt person. And somebody asked, hey, man, is it true that you worked on the Penguin series? He meant Penguin, of course. And he said right here, yes, I trained Mark for it. So showing that image right there. And then, yes, the fact that, okay, now we got confirmation that, yes, Mark Strong is going to be in the Penguin series. Who's he going to play? That's going to be interesting. So we don't have confirmation on that yet. We just know that he's in a movie. And I think he's actually going to be like, he's in Carmel Falcone, right? He's supposed to be playing that, right? Okay, so that's one of the things. I really hope he's not playing. Yeah, that's the thing is like, there was the rumor before that he was actually going to be saying, or going to be playing like a younger, like Carmine Falcone or something like that. Or there was going to be something kind of interesting where it just didn't really make sense. So I'm kind of wondering about that too, because I remember, there was like rumors already, and now we got the confirmation, but it's like, it really just didn't really make too much sense of like playing a younger Carmine Falcone. That doesn't make sense. I don't think he actually is. I don't think he's actually playing that. Watch him actually playing like a Lex Luthor in this universe. Can you imagine that if he was actually playing Lex Luthor in the Matt Reeves universe? I doubt that too. I totally doubt that as well, but yeah. Hush, Clayface. I could see him playing Clayface. That golden age Clayface could be doing that. I don't know. We'll see. So, but that was revealed over the weekend, which was like, all right, cool. Gotta love that.
Turning as Star-Lord.
Whoa, okay. All right. So now we got Chris Pratt. So Chris Pratt, obviously there's been talks about, is Chris Pratt going to join the DCU? Is James going to pull him into the DCU? And hey, you know what? It could happen. It could very much happen. And obviously Chris Pratt promoting Garfield that's going to be coming out, which is getting rave reviews, by the way, which I didn't think that was going to be the case. But apparently Chris Pratt has another animated feature that is probably going to be another like big, huge, I guess what the kids say, banger. But of course, naturally, Chris Pratt was like going to be asked about, is he going to be showing up in the DCU? And of course, is he going to be playing Star-Lord once again for Guardians of the Galaxy, even though James Gunn's not there anymore?
you were to wager a bet on where we'll see you next, do you think you'll be suiting up as somebody in DC or returning as Star-Lord?
If I had to wager a bet,
It's just hypothetical.
hypothetical, probably make more sense that I would be Star-Lord again, but anything
Absolutely.
is possible, and especially with James over at DC, maybe there's something that would be right over there. Maybe both. How about both? Let's
love
do
both.
I think it's 100% both.
1,000% both.
1,000%.
If you were to wager a
1,000% both. Now, obviously, he's just joking around. This is not to be taken seriously, but there's always been that question of whether he was going to do that. And of course, there's always like the running joke, he's going to be voicing crypto. He's going to be voicing crypto since he's voicing like everything else right now. He's going to be voicing, but I'm like, God, I hope crypto doesn't actually talk. I'm like, please don't make crypto talk. No, don't make crypto talk. If they make crypto talk, I'm going to be like, fuck, man, don't do that. I hope they don't make crypto talk. I think that would just be, that's a little too cheesy. A little too, I mean, we already had him voiced by Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, we don't need to do that. But, I mean, a lot of people, and I do agree that, you know, if they did do a Booster Gold, he could play a good Booster Gold. See, that's the thing. It's like, I like Chris Pratt, but then I don't like the fact that it's like, all right, first you're Mario, then you're Garfield. I'm like, what are we doing here? I'm like, okay, maybe one, but both? But I like Chris Pratt. It's such a weird thing because I've liked Chris Pratt ever since before he was Chris Pratt. I like him as a person, and I've heard nothing but good things when you hear people talking about working with him. They always say how much of a great guy he is, and he always, you know, everybody tries to cancel him because he's like a religious person. They're like, he's conservative, he's a Trump supporter, he's a Nazi. People try to do that shit too, and I'm like, why all this hate for Chris Pratt? What the fuck has he actually done? I don't know. There's all that kind of stuff, but I mean, I could see him as a Booster Gold, but maybe he's just going to be somebody else when it comes to the DCU. But I just would not be surprised. He's going to end up showing up. If things move along when it comes to the DCU, Superman's a success, we're probably going to see some Chris Pratt showing up somewhere. But at the same time, is Marvel Studios going to do another Guardians of the Galaxy without James Gunn? So therefore, we get Star-Lord back into the mix. I mean, even though the way that Guardians 3 ended, it was a kind of nice little, they put it, James Gunn put a nice little bow on the Peter Quill story. So do we actually, what's going to be happening next, But he said both. We'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And not much else, too, when it comes to this. Oh, something new just came about. Ooh, we got something new right here. Actually, let me see what you guys are saying about some of this stuff. I think he's going to pop up in DC eventually, not right away, yeah? Anything about Booster Gold, stop it. Boo the Dodgers. Yes, boo the Dodgers. Chris Fat? Oh, wow. You're gonna make fun of his physique? I don't know. He seems like he's always in pretty good shape. No disrespect, Mama Finching. I'm a Braves fan. Oh, okay. We got a Braves fan in here. He had some shady IG captions, but I think he's learned since then. Shady. How about banning his... Oh, yeah, there's like the whole, like... I didn't know, like, the details when it came to the whole thing when it came to his child and Anna Faris. See, I didn't know about that. I mean, again, you can't just, like, always go by what... We always go by like what other people say, and I'm like, did he really do that? I mean, that's the thing. I don't know. There's just like when it came to that, it didn't seem like that was actually true. Like when I was actually like looking into that, I was like, did he? I don't know if he actually abandoned his child. I don't think that actually did happen. I think that was somebody was trying to put. It was like one of those things where it was like because he is religious and he did go to this church, they were trying to put a label on him. I don't know. It's all a weird thing. Like I said, sometimes you just can't trust some of the things that just get put out there. Because, if you have any hint that you're not on one side of the political spectrum in Hollywood, they will try to... Look what's happening with The Rock. When he said he wasn't supporting Biden this time, all of a sudden, like Dwayne Johnson, all of a sudden this hit piece comes out a couple weeks later and all this kind of stuff like that. He's unprofessional on set and all this kind of stuff. And it was just kind of like, You just got to watch out for the media machine, man. I tell you. Because, you know, the media machine, especially in the entertainment, it is very much on one side. Very much on one side. Yeah, I think a lot of us wouldn't hate him as Booster Gold, but, you know. Is Inception 2 coming out or just a yeah, I haven't heard anything about Inception 2. I don't think Christopher Nolan wants to do a sequel to that. I think that's pretty much just its own thing, so didn't start pissing in a Voss bottle, yeah. But apparently, according to Booster, okay, so I just saw this thing on my feed. So when it comes to even Booster Gold, apparently there's a production list that says Booster Gold will begin filming in July 8th of 2024. So, news break, exclusive! Not to me, but yeah. So Booster Gold might be starting to film in less than a month? Or, no, June. Yeah, right. There's another month between May and June there. So, in 2 months. So, in less than 2 months, we might be getting Booster Gold already. So no like updates or anything. Who's going to be playing Booster Gold? Are we going to get an announcement after Garfield comes out that it is going to be Chris Pratt? Probably not. I don't think that's going to be the case. But man, so that's just something. There's a production list. Don't take it at face value. It could just be all, you know, whatever the hell. But yeah, so that just kind of came about right now. So we might be actually getting some casting news soon if that is actually true. But don't take it at face value, and it's just never know. You just never know. But yeah, I mean, he would fit the mold. He would definitely fit the mold. Tenet 2 would actually be more logical when it came to that, so. Anya Taylor-Joy and Furiosa. Oh boy, cannot wait for this. I actually might be seeing Furiosa early. I might be seeing it early there, folks. I think I might have an invite where I'm going to see it a couple days early. So look forward to that because I'm very much looking forward to the movie Mad Max Fury Road. George Miller just, you know, he gave a lesson on how to make action. But the thing is though, when it comes to these Mad Max movies, they are not easy to make. And George Miller is just like, you know what? You know, I'm going to make, and at 70 whatever years old, he's pushing 80 now. He just knows how to make good action, but at the same time, in order to make what he wants to make, you're basically going to be going into boot camp. We heard when it came to Fury Road that there was a struggle when it came to filming that movie, especially when it came to the two leads, Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. They didn't get along well at all because they are both very different and they approached their performances very different to the point where Tom Hardy he was struggling through some things, and he was even like from recent interviews that George Miller said, he said that Tom was going through some shit where, yeah, he didn't come out of his trailer when he was supposed to come out of his trailer. Charlize Theron was always like the first to be on set and was like a true professional. But Tom Hardy had some struggles. But then he said that reflected both of their characters. But yeah, they apparently bumped heads, and Tom Hardy sent her like a gift, like a painting or something like that, and even said on the note, said like, you were truly dreadful to work with or something like that, but here's a gift. Because, you know, even when all said and done, they did make some movie magic. So now we got Anya Taylor-Joy talking about her experience making Furiosa, and apparently it wasn't all that great either, and she has some shit to say, but didn't fully say it. This is a very interesting interview right here. This is, and then, of course, you know, people talking about her dialogue and stuff like that, but we got a variety interview right here. Anya Taylor-Joy has about 30 lines of Furiosa dialogue, spent months without speaking on set, and fought to scream on camera. I've never been more alone than making that movie. Actual quote, but you have to get the full context naturally. So she was actually talking to the New York Times, and Anya Taylor-Joy said she would go months on the movie set without speaking a single line of dialogue. Months! How long was this shoot? She added, I've never been more alone than making that movie. I don't want to go too deep into it, but everything that I thought was going to be easy was hard. Yikes. When asked what proved more difficult than she expected on the Furiosa set, the actor answered, next question, sorry. Talk to me in 20 years. Talk to me in 20 years. What the hell? Very weird. So is she hinting that George Miller is not a stand-up dude? Chris Hemsworth? Did she have problems with Chris Hemsworth? Or was it just a grueling shoot? Was it just because you're in the desert, it's hot? You probably got sand in every crevice? Because obviously we've seen the trailers, and there's moments where it's like, yeah, you're rolling around in sand, you're doing all that. Yeah, I mean, grueling shoot. But the fact that she goes, talk to me in 20 years. Like, what are you going to reveal? Is George Miller going to get Me Too'd after he's passed away? But it's like, well, why if it was bad, talk about it now. Put him on blast if he's a piece of shit. Hoping that's not going to be the case. But it's just kind of interesting that she said that like that. I don't know. It's very weird. And even George Miller has said, I do want to 100% preface this by saying I love. Okay, so now this is not him saying this, but there is another quote right here that says, I do want to 100% say that she has all love in the world for George. If you're going to do something like this, you want to be in the hands of someone like George Miller. So she did say that. But he had a very, very strict idea of what Furiosa's Warface looked like, and that only allowed me and allowed my eyes for a large portion of the movie. I was very much mouth closed, no emotion, speak with your eyes. Well, yeah. Have you seen her eyes? She's got very big, pretty eyes. Who else does good acting with their eyes? Tom Hardy. There's a couple of times, even in Mad Max Fury Road, there's a point where he does have a mask over his face for a good portion of an action sequence, so he has to very much emote through his eyes. And he did that with Bane. He did that with Dunkirk. So it seems like Miller just has a certain way of doing something, and he wanted her to act through her eyes. And maybe that just wasn't like the big, she just didn't think that was what she was getting involved with. I don't know. It was just kind of interesting when you saw like what she had to say right there. But definitely a challenge. Definitely a challenge with these movies. My question is Tom Hardy going to come back for Mad Max Wasteland? Because we already know that George Miller has a sequel to Fury Road, and it's Wasteland, and it's a Mad Max movie. And is Charlize Theron going to be a part of that, and is she going to come back? Because it just seems like in order to make something as crazy as these Mad Max movies, you got to get put through hell. And it might not be the thing that you thought you were signing up for. I don't know. Oh, yeah, I'm sure he's probably he's very strict on things. Thomas Bane is a masterclass of acting through eyes. Yeah, but that's what he's trying to push this right here. But it's just, to me, it's just like when she was like, no, next question, talk to me in 20 years. I'm like, it sounded like she had a really bad experience. So it was like, did you have a bad experience with George or one of the other actors? I don't know. Are we going to hear something later on, It just seemed a little strange that she worded it like that and then wanted to move on to the next question. Now we got the box office. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Who saw that over the weekend? Obviously, you guys know I did. And then, of course, I went back and revisited the Apes franchise. And it was fun doing that because it was a reminder of just how good that franchise is. But naturally, we're all eyes on the box office. We are now into the summer blockbuster season. So we're all just kind of like going like, all right, how are these movies going to do? We had Fall Guy come out last weekend. A lot of us were kind of hoping because it was kind of a fresh franchise, even though it was loosely based on a TV show with Lee Majors that came out, a few decades ago. But the true test was like, all right, now we got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. How well is that movie going to do? Well, it did better than Fall Guy for sure. It made $58.4 million over the weekend domestically. And then we got right here $131 million worldwide. So not too shabby because, again, and this was one of the things that I remember we were talking about during the vodka stream, is the fact that it cost $160 million. The budget was reported, again, the budget probably more than it actually reported. It's usually the case, but it was reported that it was actually a $160 million budget. So it could have some legs. It could have some legs, and it could potentially, of course, warrant some of those sequels that they talked about because they want to do like 8 more movies. Who knows if that's probably not going to be the case, but hey, if we can get a new trilogy, I'm all for it because I really enjoyed this version. Really did. And The Fall Guy had a 50% drop, 50.6% drop. That's not too bad. Not too bad. And it crossed $100 million worldwide. $130 million budget. Still got some I don't know. Still needs some little bit of legs when it comes to that. But I'm like, it just sucks because I really had fun with that movie. And I was really hoping David Leitch, and it just the movie was just like, again, it was just one of those movies where I had fun with it, and I wanted more people to go see it. But there you go. There's your box office. And then, of course, you had Challengers. That was number 3, which a lot of people are still talking about. But Challengers is a weird thing. I was talking about Challengers, the Zendaya tennis movie where there's like a love triangle thing that happens. Challengers is a weird movie, and I was talking to my buddy who's, in the Hollywood world, and he has some things to say about it. Maybe I'll say more about what he has to say, like, in the member stream or something like that. But seemed like Challengers was very much that movie that Zendaya and her people wanted to really push to get her away from playing a teenager in movies, which I totally understand. She wants to play more grown-up movies. Even in interviews, she was like, yeah, let's do that. But they sold it as this sexy, like, oh, there's going to be sex scenes, and there's going to be a 3-way in this movie. Like, Zendaya is like, look at these images we're seeing. It's like both the guys, and they're both kissing her. But apparently, I didn't see the movie, but apparently there's like no sex. There's like, there's still like a sexiness to it, but I don't know. It was like they were really trying to like be like, Zendaya, she's growing up now. And I always thought Zendaya, a little overrated in my eyes. Again, yes, I didn't see Euphoria. I know everybody keeps on saying that, just like when it comes to Sydney Sweeney, but I just always found her like, I don't know. I just always kind of found her a little overrated as well. I don't know. But this is what you do though. When you're a young actor in Hollywood, and you start off with these like teenage movies, yeah, eventually you have to make the transition into adult movies. And I get that they're really trying to push this, and apparently they were really trying to push this movie to be obviously considered for a bunch of awards when we get to award season. Is it going to get there? I guess we'll find out, but they were really trying to push that. And I think Zendaya's, like, her whole team was really trying to get her out of the, I'm not a teenager anymore, let me play some more adult characters now. We'll see if it does happen, but yeah, I don't know. But they sold it as this other type of movie. And I remember seeing people go, yeah, they sold it as like there was going to be like sex scenes and stuff like that. No sex scenes, but then there's people that don't want sex scenes in movies now. I don't know. It's all a weird thing. Because, sex scenes are now down, which I get. Do you need sex scenes in movies? Nah, not necessarily, because sometimes it's ridiculous, when they're just like, dry humping each other. It's always, sometimes when they try to be like, oh, we're going to try to make this look like a real sex scene, and it just looks ridiculous. I guess you don't really need that anymore. I don't know, when especially when I was growing up and you were trying to be like, oh yeah, Cinemax or HBO, and you want to these movies that were like soft core, and when you go back and see that now, you go like, yeah, wow, how ridiculous was that, where it was just like a bunch of dry humping. I don't know how the conversation got to dry humping right now, guys, but you're welcome. You're welcome. This is what you get when it comes to Film Junkie Live. Do we need sex scenes in movies like that? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just need to be like, okay, you know that these two characters are going to be getting into that. You don't need to show it, and you don't need to have that awkwardness when they film a sex scene, because obviously there is awkwardness when it comes to that. And there's like, nowadays there's like people on set to make sure everything's all like good now. I don't know. Anyways, let's move away from sex scenes. Even though I've seen some movies where it's like, oh yeah, they actually did have sex in those scenes. There's some where they go to the NC-17 realm when it comes to that, and it's like, whoa, did they actually do it then? Yeah, then it's going to be interesting when it comes to Rebel Moon. Yeah, like I said, Naval right there, it's like, when it comes to Rebel Moon, so shame. I'd just be happy to have a Henry Cavill sex scene. Okay. Nothing wrong with a tactically placed sex scene. Yeah, if it works with the story, perfectly fine. If it adds to the story and adds to these two characters, and it can work. You can have a pretty steamy sex scene. There's been some pretty steamy sex scenes. And yes, that Willem Dafoe film that you're talking about, yeah, I forgot what it was called. There was one, and it was the same director made another one called Nympho, which actually totally, if you watch that movie, which I did, and I was like, whoa, people are really doing it here. This is like porn almost. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyways. Batfleck. Speaking of sex. Speaking of sex. You want to talk about sex in an image right here? Oh, it's the image of Batfleck. I mean, obviously, recently when getting the new Superman suit reveal, we were all anxiously wondering how are they going to show that, and how are they, the first image of Corn Sweat in the costume, what was that going to be like? What was that going to be like? But I think a lot of us would agree, and a lot of us here, not everybody, but, at least, my core fans who have been with me when it comes to supporting Zack and doing the whole Snyder Cut thing, we can all pretty much agree, at least us, and I know, and I get it, there's going to be some people out there that don't agree with that too, because, and it's totally fine. Let's keep, let's not have, too many crazy heated debates when it comes to the chat or anything like that. We can all kind of agree that the first image of Batfleck being revealed, because we're all wondering, what is this Batsuit going to look like? What is Zack going to give us? And it has been a decade, guys. It has been 10 years. 10 years since this first image of Batfleck was revealed. Crazy that it's been 10 years. And there, of course, is the tweet right there from Zack Snyder. 2014, May 13th. Holy Lord. I shot this with my Leica camera. I'm probably saying that wrong. M monochrome. Look at that. This beautiful image, which of course a meme came out of this, where everybody was calling it Sad Batman. But yeah, right next to the Batmobile. And we're like, oh my God, he did the fat bat. It looks like Dark Knight Returns. He's got the short ears. Look at that chin. Look at that costume. Look at the texture. It's so beautiful. Look at the pouches in the utility belt. Holy Lord, everything looks good. What the hell? Oh, just such a beautiful image. I mean, it's art. It's fucking art. This image right here. And one of these days, I'm going to have it hanging up on my wall. I got to put this on my wall somewhere. But it's just such a beautiful, beautiful freaking image right there. Everything about it. The monochrome, the texture of the suit, the lighting, Batfleck's chin, the way he's standing, the cape, everything is just perfect. As Homelander says in The Boys, perfect. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Being a Batman fan, that's what you wanted to see right there when it came to this reveal. And here's my story. And I've talked about it before, but I'm going to talk about it again since it's the 10-year anniversary. But my story when it came to this image, and obviously, like, if you guys go back a decade when I was covering the absolute shit out of BVS and trying to cover anything that came out. Rumors, set photos, anything that came out when it came to BVS, because I was like, all right, I'm really gonna, and this was like the beginning of the channel, towards the beginning of the channel. And I remember I was at work. And I was working at this, basically the first, when it comes to what I do now and what I do, like, behind the, because I was a cable guy, I've told you guys that, but then now I'm like working behind the scenes. So the first job that I got was like this startup kind of company. And I remember like where my desk was, which wasn't a desk. It was literally a table that had a computer on it. It wasn't a desk, but we were in this room with like, and I probably like 4 other guys that were in this room. And we all got along. It was great. And they were kind of nerdy too. And we would talk about this kind of stuff. And I remember like I would always, I'd be sitting at my desk and sometimes I would just be looking at Twitter and being like, oh, yeah, just kind of scrolling through. And I remember when I saw this image and finally we got this very image because, I've even had discussions with them. I had discussions with people online. What is the new Batsuit going to look like? And when that image showed up, I was like, oh my God. And I started showing like everybody, showing all the guys. And they're like, holy shit. And one of the guys who knew like about Dark Knight Returns, he was like, dude, he did the Dark Knight Returns. I'm like, yeah. It was all just kind of crazy. And then I remember going like, fuck, I need to do a video. And so I was like, luckily when he did post this, I had to wait 2 hours because I think I always took my lunch at like 11 a.m. He posted this at 9:11 a.m. So I had to wait a couple hours. Just imagine, guys, me 10 years ago wanting to just make a video to put it out there. You don't know how long, it was like the longest 2 hours ever because I was like, I have to wait till my lunch and then I fucking booked it home. Like I got into my car and I fucking drove my ass off home to record a video. And you can find that video if you search for it on my channel. You can find that video and recorded it. I didn't have my face on it. I just did a voiceover thing. It was a quick video, put it together, and then I rushed back to work because it was like, oh my God, I had to post a video. So I didn't even eat lunch, guys. I did not even eat lunch because I rushed home to make a video. But goddamn, is that image? I mean, it's just so freaking beautiful, man. The lighting, the shading, everything. It's just so freaking beautiful. I mean, we already know what the behind the scenes looks like, but it's just crazy that it's 10 years. And then, of course, it was fun, too, when people were trying to look at the background. Like, I remember people were, like, looking over here. They're like, what the hell? Does that look like the Joker? No, it looks like Deathstroke's fucking, looks like his mask. They're like, oh, there's something right there. There's some hints. There was like, no, there's no hints. It's just Batman in front of the fucking Batmobile. Absolutely beautiful. 10 years. And 10 years later, we got one of the worst reveals. Oh, 10 years later. 10 years later. No, but I do hope the next reveal of the new Superman costume is, I imagine it's going to be better than what we got, but man. Okay. I can't help but joke, Can't help but joke, especially after looking at that. I'm like, geez, there's no, hard not to joke. Anyways, guys, all right. So it's kind of good to like reflect about that. It's just crazy that 10 years, fuck, just absolutely insane. I'm like, geez, I've been like basically doing this channel for over 10 years, longer than that, really. But it's like, it's just crazy to think about. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see, we got Twitter questions. Let's see what you guys have to say over. Not too many Twitter questions. All right, we got Adrian Woodbanks right here. I'd like to see Chris Pratt as Booster Gold. He just needs to bulk a little. He's bulked pretty good. He could do that. Eric Blake. Hey, Dave, with Paramount's recent... Oh, God, that GIF is tripping me out right now. Hey, Dave, with Paramount's recent announcement that Top Gun 3 is going to happen, how much are you inclined to do a mustache ride? Part 2? Well, I mean, I have a mustache technically now. So, I mean, I just have the goatee with it. So I don't know if I just do just the mustache again. I don't know. But right now, I do have a mustache now. But yeah, if I shave the goatee part, the chin pubes. Michael Manette. Hey, Dave, since you're talking about Batfleck, what was your favorite Batfleck moment? Mine was a warehouse fight sequence. I mean, yes, being a Batman fan, and I think we can all agree that the warehouse was just absolutely fantastic. Devon Wooter. Hey, Dave, did you hear the news? Edgar Wright is in talks to direct Barbarella, yes, remake with Sydney Sweeney. And do you think Rick Flagg's dad will forgive Peacemaker for killing his son? No, of course not. I think that's the whole reason why he's in Peacemaker Season 2. But maybe, who knows what will happen at the end. Both guys will be friends, Dave. Which movie you will never see ever again? Justice League? Yeah, I retired that fucking Frankenstein movie. After we did a rewatch before Zack Snyder's Justice League came out 3 years ago, we did a rewatch. We got drunk. It was fun. We did a rewatch. We were taking shots. And we retired that piece of shit movie. Mr. Nobody, hey Dave, I get why Gunn killed off Rick Flagg. We knew as soon as Peacemaker show was in the works, they're not going to kill Peacemaker. So what's the point of Senior Flagg fighting him? Because Senior won't be killed off either. You don't bring creature commandos and kill off a main character. Yeah, you're probably right, but I'm kind of wondering I'm still intrigued by what happens in there. And then you never know, maybe he will kill him off, or maybe he will kill Peacemaker. What if they kill Peacemaker? I wouldn't be surprised if, okay, we're not going to do a Peacemaker Season 3, so let's just kill Peacemaker. Maybe that'll happen. You never know. Darkness Under the Wind. Dave, question 1. Should Chris Pratt join the DCU? Would you like his last appearance as Star-Lord in the MCU be his rumored miniseries? There's a rumored miniseries? I didn't even hear about that. I don't know. It's just the way that they wrapped up Star-Lord's story, kind of. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure he's going to end up showing up there again. And what he'd show up in the DCU, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I like Chris Pratt. I do. So I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't love it either, though. Question number 2, with Frank Grillo confirmed to be in Peacemaker Season 2, do you see someone Peacemaker really cares about dying? Like eagerly? Probably. Someone's got to die, right? Got to raise those stakes. You got to raise those stakes, and James Gunn's good at raising those kind of stakes, I think. I think you could throw some surprise in there because you got to do that. And he knows he has to do that kind of stuff too. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't need Chris Pratt to be in the DCU, but if he is in the DCU, fine. I don't need a Season 2 of Peacemaker, but now that we have the the Rick Flagg Sr. aspect to the story, now you got my attention. Still don't think I need it, but I'm curious. Just absolutely curious. But if anything we could take away from this Film Junkee Live is that Batfleck image is tits. It's the best superhero reveal objectively. No, I know I shouldn't say that, but I'm just saying it's just the best. It's just the best. And looking at it again, looking at it today, people passing it around today and just looking at it right here again, it's just, goddamn, it's just a fucking chef's kiss. Chef's kiss when it comes to that. And it's like, But at the same time, when you look at the Superman corn sweat reveal, you kind of go like, yeah, that's the exact opposite. And you can almost appreciate that a little bit because it's like, yeah, James Gunn said, yeah, I'm going to put out a shitty one. Is he trolling us, or is it did he just overreach? I don't know. Time will tell. But that image of Batfleck is just, so freaking good. It's just so freaking good. All right, guys, that'll wrap up Film Junkee Live today. Thank you guys for tuning in and spending some time with me. Subscribe, do all that, hit the like, thumbs up, everything. Follow me on the sock mates. And like I said, doing a lot on the Patreon, really trying to build a community over there, so do that. I'll see you guys on Wednesday for Film Junkee Live, and of course the members only stream. So if you want to be a member, do that. And then of course we have DC Fanimated that also is on Wednesdays now. So really appreciate you guys supporting, and everybody who is supporting the Patreon. You guys are awesome. I really do appreciate that. Like I said, you just never know when YouTube might just go wonky again. And not to mention, it does help out the pirate ship. And thank you again. Of course, we got Eric Blake. He is the executive producer of Film Junkee Live this week. So Appreciate that. And he is a Patreon, so he's a patron, I should say. All right, guys. Love ya. Have a good rest of your nights. I'll talk to you Wednesday.